When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynovite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome. It is Jeannie Ives, and this is The Real Story. Thanks for joining me tonight. I am broadcasting here from our studio in AM 560 studio in Elk Grove Village, and thank you to my co-producers. I've got George and I've got Paul tonight helping out with the show. I really appreciate that. Listen, I was gone last week. I hope you enjoyed Kevin Coyne and Babette Holder, and I heard Raquel Mitchell also chimed in to host the show for me. My husband and I took our 2 youngest children to Germany. I've been wanting to do that for quite a while. I like them to see a bigger picture. And of course, what better time to visit Germany than to go to the Christmas markets? Unfortunately, we did not have time to go skiing, but I got to tell you, it is pretty refreshing to essentially not be able to really communicate with the world. I didn't upgrade my phone so that I could get European access. So we depended on Wi-Fi whenever we were at the hotel or at a restaurant where they had open Wi-Fi, and you could maybe check email, some messages, some didn't come through, whatever. But it is kind of nice to just completely turn that off and not be always on. I mean, these devices they're debilitating to some degree in that people think they can reach you at any time. And, for the most part they can, and they expect you to respond back. So it's kind of great to have a break from that. And there's a lot of things that are fascinating and fun about Germany. Let's face it, the country's been through a lot, obviously in their history. And it is funny. You go into these churches, some of them start in the 1000 AD. Some of them started maybe a little bit later, 1300s or whatever. But, you get a sense of really how young America is compared to the rest of the world in many respects. Our history does not go back, recorded history with buildings still standing, monuments that are, stories tall, like the Frauenkirchen in Munich. We don't have that same sort of sense of history at all, or I would say actually beauty in many of our churches. Sure, in your larger cathedrals, you're going to see some of that, but for the most part, you don't find that type of ornamentation that you find in the Catholic churches. And so shocked my kids a little bit. I made them, of course, we showed up Sunday morning. I said, we're going to Mass. That's it. We're going to Mass. We're here. We're in Munich. Let's go. And, they were a little bit drowsy. Nobody slept on the plane, of course, but pulled them into St. Peter's. And there they were, Latin Mass. They had a Latin Mass in Germany. It was just fantastic. So my kids got to experience that. and far much more. Like, having a beer at lunch and glühwein while you're shopping in the Christmas markets. It's great. It's just absolutely wonderful. The other interesting thing I thought about that whole trip is, we're a society in America where, for the most part, we respect free speech. We have written into our Constitution your right to defend yourself, your right to own arms, the Second Amendment, of course. But to actually display that in your retail operation is nearly unheard of. But you walk into a restaurant in Germany, and right there, up in the corner is a crucifix, very large crucifix, proudly displayed. Nobody cares. On the sidewall is a set of rifles, proudly displayed. Nobody cares. Nobody says a word. There's no protest like you had from the leftist women in Wheaton who wanted to shut down movable feast because they put out a sign saying, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. That was just a bridge too far for leftist women in Wheaton, who basically got rebuked, though. Fortunately, the tide turned on that one, and they've largely gotten a lot of support. But, I mean, what would they say? Would they even go into a restaurant in America that had a large crucifix on the wall and crossed rifles, for heaven's sakes? Well, you might find that in the southern part of our country. And you certainly will. I certainly have seen that type of symbols in Texas when I've visited there. But you're not going to find it here. It's like but I imagine if those same type of women went into a restaurant in Munich and saw that, they wouldn't think twice about it. Not at all. But here, that just triggers them. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of triggering that's going to be getting done when Trump comes in and with Doge. So it's pretty good. But while I was away, it was not a slow news cycle at all. There was oh my gosh, 6 days ago, there goes Bashar al-Assad from Syria. The entire regime toppled. We had that happen. Found the killer for the allegedly the killer for the United Healthcare CEO. And shockingly, he's some sort of rich kid from Baltimore area whose parents had no idea, had not seen him for, quite a few months. Nobody had heard from him. And he just goes off and murders a United Healthcare CEO. I mean, just so much news going on all the time. Then you got the revelation that, of course, like everybody knew this, but of course there were FBI confidential human sources at the J6 Capitol riots. Of course they were there. Apparently there were 26 of them. How come we don't know more about that? And then we had this big scandal. Well, I think it's a scandal, actually. And that's the West Point Public Affairs Office screw up. And actually, I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked that nobody's been fired over actually them lying to the fake media ProPublica. First of all, responding to ProPublica at all without actually knowing what you're talking about is really stupid. Do they not know? Do the public affairs officers and at West Point not know exactly that ProPublica is basically the left-wing Democrat comm shop and that anything they say is going to be essentially a smear campaign? Well, sure enough, you know the story, or maybe you don't, but ProPublica was getting ready to hit Pete Hegseth and try and make him out to be a liar. And one of the things that Pete Hegseth apparently told people is that, hey, I received an appointment from West Point. And ProPublica reached out to West Point and said, hey, Pete Hegseth says he received an appointment to West Point, which means he was given an offer of admissions, an actual offer of admissions, like, you can accept this, you accept it by this date, you're in. You've gone through the whole process. You've opened a file. You've spent months putting this file together, by the way. You've spent time getting a nomination from your congressman or somebody else who's, able to give one. You spent months doing this. You've gone through a medical background check. You've gone through a physical fitness test. You've done a lot of steps to get into West Point. By the time that appointment letter comes to you and says, hey, welcome, you are admitted to West Point if you want to go. Now, Pete Hegseth ended up not going. He decided, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, fine, that's great. He still got the appointment. He still went through the entire process, got appointed, got accepted to West Point. And he says that to ProPublica, and ProPublica's like, well, we're going to check it out. And the West Point PAO comes back and says, No, we have no record of him even applying. And then they go back again. They say, can you verify that again? And the West Point PAO office, Public Affairs Office, comes back again and says, no, he didn't even apply here. And then Pete Hegseth comes out and says, oh, right, here's my certificate. It's a very, very nice certificate. It says, you're appointed to West Point. Here you go. Here's your admittance. And a very, very nice letter from the Lieutenant General. Welcome you in. You're just the type of leader of character that we want here. Yada, yada, yada. And he shows it to him. He shows him the proof. And West Point later has to come back and say, I guess we were wrong. Now, I'm sorry. But to me, it feels almost intentional. Or the PA officers never thought that somebody like Pete Hegseth would have even applied or been accepted. Maybe that was what they were thinking, like he just didn't have those qualities, which is ridiculous, obviously ridiculous. But who knows? The point is this is a huge scandal. And nobody's been fired over it. And somebody should be fired over it. People should lose their jobs because ProPublica's intent was to smear Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense. That was their only reason to do this. And in fact, when they found out that it wasn't true, when they couldn't call Pete Hegseth a liar, they totally trashed the entire article they were going to do on Pete Hegseth. They said, we're not going to run the story. Nope. They were trying to make him out to be a liar. They were trying to figure out how Pete Hegseth lied in any way so that they could cast a shadow of a doubt on the other things that he's getting smeared with, the other allegations that are swirling around about him. Yep, that's what they were trying to do. And West Point fed right into that. Were they hoping, just like the 51 intel officers who said that they thought that the Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, were they hoping that the lie that Pete Hegseth hadn't been accepted to West Point, were they hoping that lie that they were telling, it's a lie, were they hoping that the truth wouldn't be found out before Pete produced the records? Is that what they're hoping for? I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions about that. And I'm going to keep following up that story. Maybe I might even do my own FOIA to West Point and find out what exactly went on behind the scenes. But we're going to go to break quick because coming back off a break, we're going to have Sargis Sangari. He is the founder of the Near East Center for Strategic Engagement. He's going to be on with me to talk about the Syrian situation. Sargis, you've heard him before. He's our expert on Mideast issues. He himself was born in Iran, came over here at the age of 10. He's a retired lieutenant colonel, though, from the U.S. military, and he's an expert on this area. So we're going to have an expert talk to us about the Syrian situation. And Al-Jawani, is he still the terrorist? Because he's not talking that way, but maybe we should be suspicious. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. AM 560, The Answer, is throwing a party. Join us for our inauguration celebration on January 20th at Saddle Up Q in Aurora. Enjoy a brunch buffet with AM 560 listeners as we watch the inauguration of President Trump. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump47. That's 560theanswer.com/Trump47.
Attention, hut! Listen up and listen up good. If you're tired of run-of-the-mill gifts, then get on over to aviatorfuel.com. You'll find unique military-style cocktail books and barware to go with it. At aviatorfuel.com, we've got the perfect gift for any soldier, sailor, Marine, or just red-blooded American. You'll especially love our military cocktail checklists, modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. These award-winning books are authentic replicas, but instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito, written with military jargon throughout. So pick up a cocktail checklist from aviatorfuel.com. Invite some old friends to share war stories over cocktails. Your perfect libation is inside the cocktail checklist. And don't forget matching military-themed barware. Go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Balance of Nature's supplements, changing the world one life at a time. A lot of times people don't understand what a supplement is. A supplement is in addition to your regular foods. It's really just an incredible formula, and I've been doing nutrients for 43 years. It has a tremendous effect on how I feel, my well-being. I love the way it gives me all my supplements for fruits and vegetables, which I take a lot of anyway. But I find that this gives me that supplement that I was missing before.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. Well, let's get right to it because I want to use all the time I possibly have in the next 10 minutes to talk with Lieutenant Colonel Sargis Sangari. You've heard him before. He is the founder of the Near East Center for Strategic Engagement, and he joins me now to talk about the Syrian situation. Sargis, just start out, I mean, was this expected, or who saw this coming, and how did it all happen?
Yeah, much appreciated, Jeannie. We may not have seen it as average Americans worried about local politics, but it was pretty much seen coming, given the fact that Hezbollah was retreating out of Syria because of the operations that Israel was conducting against them. Iran actually did warn Assad just a couple of weeks before the initial offensive started that this is coming, and Assad understood. Even the Russians warned him almost a month prior, and some of the support requirements that they offered, he rejected them. Now, the Ukrainians were on the ground actually training the Syrian opposition on how to use drone weapons against the possible Assad regime. And the way it helps out Ukraine in this case is, of course, if Russia is more preoccupied with worrying about its ports and what it needs to do in order to secure those two ports it has in Syria, then it's going to be much more preoccupied there than having to worry about maybe using those naval assets somewhere in its fight to leverage against Ukraine. So most of the players in this, and of course Assad is no longer in the country now, and you see this split that's taking place, especially Syria now will be possibly split, at least we know in 3 different primary sectors, possibly even up to 5.
Wow. And is that based off of religious affiliation, or is that more culturally defined?
It's politics. It's basically how the papers are being settled. The first thing that, of course, Israel did was expand into the zones into Syria. So the Golan Heights will never, ever go back again to any other nation, even if there's some sort of a Syria that might exist. Golan Heights are permanently now in Israeli control, and they're very strategic key terrain that will never be disputed again.
Okay,
and then the
so Israel, I mean, in defiance of a 1974 UN agreement, it basically is now occupying the Syrian Golan Heights, and you say that that's going to continue, and they will not give those back.
Yeah, but in this type of fight, when the government collapses or it takes territory, you sit on it and keep it who's going to come and argue about it. Even the Russians, initially for their ports, they had the agreement with the Assad regime. So the Assad regime is gone. So what justifies you keeping those ports except for the fact that you have military forces on the ground? The Druze now have also asked the Israelis to come in and further expand into the region and annex the areas that are in Syria that the Druze lie on. And I think that probably will happen. So you might see an expansion of the Israeli borders. The Kurds up in the north who are getting decimated, especially by the Turkish airstrikes, are eventually going to go ahead and probably be given a regional area somewhere between the Iraqi border and where the Kurds are currently. And given the fact that there's a lot of possible attacks now and probably a destability of Iraq in 6 months from now, that there might be a compromise, at least give a location for the Christians to be able to administer themselves. Of course, they would have to choose a leader amongst themselves right now. And you'll probably at least see three possible regions that are going to be under self-control by the Kurds, the Christians, whatever that coalition looks like, and the Druze under the protection of the Israelis.
So essentially, this guy, Abu Muhammad al-Jawani, the former leader of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is obviously was one of the largest rebel groups. He's the one who mounted the offensive, apparently, or is getting credit for mounting the offensive and taking Assad out. Assad been in there. His family had been in there for 50 years. So, I mean, this is a pretty significant thing for him to be able to do. Now, his background, obviously, Islamic State and then Al-Qaeda, and he apparently cut ties with those. That's what I'm reading. And he's saying all the right things according to all sorts of reports. And I was listening to Al Jazeera when I was in Germany, because, it was them or BBC, and I just got in touch with the Al Jazeera program. I was like, okay, what are they saying? And they say that he's saying the right things, but they're just really not sure about him. Are you saying that Al-Jawani, at the end of the day, and by the way, he's changed his name, unbelievable. He changed his name to Ahmad al-Sharar. I don't know why, but I guess that's what he did. But are you saying at the end of the day that he may control just a portion of Syria and the rest will be led by other folks, like the Christians will have their own part that they are in charge of?
Well, that's a plan, right? But not everybody's right in on the plan, and there's going to be much more bloodshed. What's going to happen is the Kurds are going to use the excuse that we're getting pummeled and we need our own regional area to kind of finally let those 40,000 ISIS go. And those 40,000 ISIS are going to pour into Mosul in northern Iraq, which is the reason why initially, as soon as the war in Syria basically broke towards the Islamists, I would say most of them are. No difference between them. They could say the right things, but that's what they are. The U.S. CENTCOM commander, General Kurala, did visit not just the forces on the ground, but he also visited the Syrian Democratic Forces that also have ties to Islamic elements in Syria, and then flew directly into Baghdad and sat down and met with the Prime Minister there, Mohammed al-Sudani. And as soon as that meeting was done, al-Sudani was on the first flight out to Jordan, meeting with the president in Jordan. And then, of course, that led to the Jordanian king flying out to UAE and having discussions as to what's going to happen with the realignment when it comes to Syria and Iraq. Over the next few months, everybody's getting set for the major fight that will take place in the early spring to the late spring in both countries. And then, of course, that's followed by Blinken going to Iraq to discuss. And if you listen to the discussions that are taking place, the discussions from the state side was that we're going to make sure that Baghdad doesn't fall. Nothing happens to Baghdad. They didn't say anything about Iraq. They basically talked about Baghdad. So I think if anybody's going to be in a deep doo-doo would be really the certain Christians and all the Christians that are still in the areas that initially ISIS attacked. And I think you're going to see what happened in 2014 reemerge. You may see the skirmishes different, maybe, but I think going back to the initial plans that the U.S. has for Iraq, where you had a Sunni sector that was much more bolstered, and then you have an issue with a possible Shia sector, and all this is dependent on whether or not President Trump comes in and decides to conduct military operations at a level that Iranians had never seen, that may lead to an Iranian regime falling from all the kinetic operations against them. I mean, we've been we're dropping now 40-pound buster bunkers on Yemenis targets. And I think that this all basically setting up to possibly see what may happen by May of next year, which might be
Yeah, but there would have to be an outright provocation for, Trump to actually go ahead and use military assets against Iran.
It would be, but I think, Jeannie, what the advice has been is that Iran blocks shipping lanes. If Iran had to use Yemenis to do it, now, whether or not he's going to do it or not, again, like I said, he'd rather not, but there's a possibility that he may just do it. And because, again, Trump, like everybody else, has wanted to lead the Middle East. So
you're essentially saying that the Syrian conflict, basically what's going on right now, is going to spill over into Iraq, and that from there, that's where more of the heavy fighting is going to go. Do you think that, is there essentially, I don't know, but is there armed conflict going on in Syria right now, or is that over?
No, they're still fighting taking place. Okay. Turkish planes are hitting Kurdish.
Well, yes, and Israel's bombing raids going on as well. But I'm talking about amongst the Syrian forces. No, Assad's forces have all.
I think one thing people need to pay attention to is that Assad's brother, who had broken away from him a while ago, didn't leave. So he's somewhere in Syria, and a lot of the military guys are there too still.
I'm sorry, I've got to leave it right there. I thank you so much for that update, real quick update from Sargis. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And we'll be right back with the real story. Thank you so much. Hang on, audience. We got much more to talk about.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2025? That sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what AM 560 The Answer wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest presented by Team Hochberg. Enter once per day, every day between now and December 20th, and you could have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Fox News, I'm Ann Carrick. Drone sightings in the Northeast still sparking concern.
The administration has repeatedly assured people that they are safe. However, one, we need a briefing for the members of the Senate to figure out what's going on here. Two, we need more transparency.
Minnesota Democrat Senator Amy Klobuchar on CBS's Face the Nation also calling for stronger legislation to regulate drone usage, some calling on law enforcement to shoot down the drones. President Biden pardoned 1,500 people Thursday, the largest single-day grant of clemency in modern history. Kentucky Republican Representative James Comer on Fox News Live.
I hope Congress will reform the pardon process because of Joe Biden's abuses.
The president reportedly considering additional pardons before the end of his term. America is listening to Fox News.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. The Biden administration is reportedly considering preemptive pardons for political allies, including Anthony Fauci, Liz Cheney, and Mark Milley. Biden justifies the pardons on the grounds that some officials might be targeted by Donald Trump. The president's pardon power is absolute, but just because he can doesn't mean he should. It's not surprising that Joe Biden is worried about lawfare. Perhaps he's measuring Donald Trump with the crooked yardstick that should be applied to his own administration. Never before in American history has any president's Justice Department prosecuted his political opponent. Biden's did so with relish. Never before had any president cheered on the indictment of a rival based on novel legal theories. Biden did. Having already broken one of the norms that separates America from banana republics, Joe Biden now seems willing to break another. But America's had enough. Just say no, Joe.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
The Real Story with Jeannie Ives continues on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Hey, guess what? You know, sometimes you need a producer in all parts of your life, and this article my husband just teed up for me. It is from Red State, and it says, "Lovely German Christmas markets overrun by foreign invaders." And it was just published by Ward Clark today, December 15th. And it talks about, apparently, on Sunday, December 8th, 11,000 Syrian migrants entered the Christmas market in Essen, Germany, chanting Allah Akbar and firing shots. Since the beginning of the week, smartphone videos of the scenes have proliferated on social media, sparking a number of angry and worried reactions to the scale of the demonstration, the behavior of the participants, and the poor police response. The latest gathering of Syrian migrants was known to and prepared for by the police, but the planned demonstration grew in size as the fall of Bashar al-Assad was confirmed, followed by his flight from Damascus, the Syrian capital. The numbers far exceeded advance estimates, with only 300 participants expected. Ultimately, thousands of Syrians lined the streets of the city carrying flags. Yep, that's what they do. They leave their hellhole in the Mideast and they come to nice places in Germany, and then they tell the German people, we're going to fire shots at your Christmas market. Now, there's apparently nothing random about this. The Christmas markets are seen by the Syrians as an overt celebration of a Christian tradition. Well, that's true, which they are, and therefore they cannot be tolerated and must be interfered with or broken up if possible. These are not tolerant people, writes this author. These are not people who are accepting of dissenting views. That's true. So we'll see verdicts out on what's going to happen, but I saw none of that type of similar protest in the numerous Christmas markets we visited: Rothenburg, Salzburg, Berchtesgaden, Munich, a number of times everywhere. So it just happened to happen in this one spot, but it's still concerning. Yeah. That's right. Okay, great. So, hey, listen, we're moving on because there's so much to talk about. And I'm going back to a story that I never got to about a month ago, and I really wanted to talk to these guys a little bit more. And so joining me right now is Jack Rigert. He's the co-founder of the John Paul II Renewal Center, the host of Who Are You podcast, a writer and a speaker. He was a professional chef and who owned restaurants, real estate, and financial service company, but encounters with Christ at his dying brother's bedside and again in the Eucharist at his brother's funeral brought him back to the church after a 20-year absence. And while attending graduate school in theology, Jack came across the teaching of John Paul II's Theology of the Body. He immediately understood that this was a treasure he had been seeking all his life, sold everything, and now travels the country presenting parish missions, retreats, and classes. He has an MA in theology, and he's going to join us along with his buddy. These two together present something called Stolen Innocence, and it's an awareness campaign concerning the national sex education standards that are being taught in public school system, and also an awareness can about spotting sexual predators and what you can do, how you can take action. And his partner in this is Tom Hampson. Tom's an Air Force veteran who served as an intelligence analyst in Western Europe during the Vietnam War. He also served as a chief investigator for the Illinois Legislative Investigating Commission and as a Chicago Crime Commission board member. When he left state employment, he established an international private investigation agency that specialized in complex civil and criminal investigations. While he was with the Illinois Legislative Investigating Commission, one investigation he did was an 8-year probe into the sexual exploitation of children. It was the most extensive investigation into the issue ever conducted by any law enforcement agency. He also founded a private investigation agency that conducted investigations on every continent except Antarctica with over 150 countries. And his investigative work prompted him to establish the Truth Alliance Foundation and dedicate the rest of his life to protecting children by teaching child-serving organizations how to spot predators and keep them away from children. And they're here to discuss the story, and it's still a problem. And I really want their background to come into why this story was important to them. So the John Paul II Renewal Center put out this press release about the male teacher forcing elementary school children to treat him as a woman. And this, of course, is happening in Naperville. You've maybe heard the story before. I think I may have mentioned it on this radio show. But Steve Sabovic, a grade school library administrator for Indian Prairie School District 204, is requesting that he to be incorrectly identified as a woman. And he was a former teacher, now the librarian, and they're asking the children they used to know as Mr. Sabovic to now call him Miss Sabovic. Elementary grade children. In addition, they're telling children that they need to falsely use the incorrect pronouns in addressing this particular person as well. And the parents really don't have a say in it. So I want those two gentlemen to tell us more about it and why this story is so important to the work that they're doing. So Jack and Tom, thank you so much for joining me on The Real Story.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So who would like to
Hey, good
respond?
to be with you.
Yeah,
great.
I think
we'll let
Tom first.
Let Tom.
Okay.
Yes, we'll let Tom dive in.
All right. Dive in, Tom.
Okay, well, Steve has already changed his name on his teacher's license to Madison Sabovic. So one of the problems with this issue is that the Supreme Court ruled in Bostock versus Clayton County, you can't discriminate against somebody who's a transgender in employment. So there's nothing the school district can do to change his employment status. The parents, however, don't have to refer to him as Miss. Although there's not been a Supreme Court decision requiring that governs how you speak about somebody, whether you're going to use the pronouns, their preferred pronouns, or use their preferred name. It doesn't. There's no Supreme Court decision on that. Lower courts have ruled throughout the country that people can't be punished. They can't be treated differently if for religious reasons or even just for personal reasons they don't want to go along with the political correctness of referring to a man as a woman or so there's nothing they can do about that. Well, the problem here in this case with these kids is with the way the Supreme Court decision has been interpreted, is that the children aren't equipped to deal with this dramatic change. You can't.
Well, I wouldn't be equipped to deal with the dramatic change.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't know how the colleagues feel about it. It's very confusing, and it's actually a lie.
It is a lie, and that's one of the problems with it. But the issue with the Supreme Court is going to have to be settled by changing Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. I think it's 65 is what it was, 1965, because that's the basis that they used to make the decision that they handed down in Bostock. But it is too confusing for children to deal with this, and I don't know why the school insists that children be told that they're supposed to call Mr. Savovic Miss Savovic now. They just seem to think it's not any big deal, but for a child, it's a major point of confusion, and children need certainty, not confusion.
So, Jack, I mean, obviously, God made males and He made females, and they're not. You can't change that. It's in every single cell of your body. It's scripted that way. And I mean, this is a complete violation of everything that's taught with the theology of the body or just common sense. So where do we go from here?
I think parents have to stand up, Jeannie. All the points that Tom made are accurate, but when things start to change is when enough people finally start to realize that. See, people look at this person, Steve, who's changing. I don't know how far he got so far with the so-called transition, and they look at them like somebody that's suffering, and obviously they are suffering in some way. But they forget that all these children now are drawn into this, and so we deal, Jeannie, with families a lot. We deal with the John Paul II Renewal Center with young people a lot. The anxiety, the depression, the amount of kids that are on the spectrum that get caught up into these lies, we forget that they're all become victims of this. And so the solution, part of the solution, of course, Tom brings up the legal, and that's why we do so much work together, because he kind of brings up the legal and those types of aspects. But we both talk about the personal damage that's being done to marriage, to families, to kids. They put a divider between, if I send my child back, Jeannie, to school and say, no, you don't have to call, this man a woman just because he says this. Well, what's a child to do, right?
Right.
And so the pushback comes, and then they create a division between the parents and the kids. They send talking points to all of the administrators and the teachers how to respond back. And it says, if somebody calls or students ask, we're heading to the library. Remember, our LMC director is now Mrs. et cetera, et cetera. We all have names that make us feel comfortable. This is the name our director prefers. And this is, and here's the last point I'll make. We all have personal choices. Now, this is a directed talking points that are going out to teachers to talk to the kids and parents when they call. Just how we each choose our clothes and our hairstyles, our LMC director chooses how she expresses herself. Yeah. And so they're correlating, right? Look how they're correlating this in a child's mind. Okay, I can change my hair, I can change my shoes, I can change my shirt, I can change my sex. And it's amazing what does to a child's
It's
heart
absolutely
and their mind.
preposterous. Okay, hey guys, we have to take a real short break. Hang on, we'll be right back with you. There's much more to discuss about this topic that is to bring you up to date about where we are with this, especially as it relates to the UK and what they're doing. We'll be right back with the real story.
Fresenius Kabi USA LLC has an opening for Senior SAP Business Analyst in Lake Zurich, Illinois. Job duties include serving as the main liaison to business functional areas to partner with business stakeholders, understanding their needs, prioritizing efforts, recommending changes and innovations, serving as the subject matter expert. This is a hybrid position, must report to Lake Zurich office 3 days per week. To apply, visit fkusa.wd1.myworkdayjobs.com/FK_careers. Must reference job R012080.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other, and if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The fentanyl epidemic is killing 400 Americans per day. The new documentary, Fentanyl Death Incorporated, takes a deep dive into this deadly killer.
It is the equivalent of a 747 going down every 2 days.
The 9,000 kilograms that were seized by the HIDTA program last year is sufficient to kill the population of the United States several times over.
Americans age 18 to 45 are the #1 consumers of fentanyl. Our friends, our neighbors, our own family members.
The Surgeon General released the report on the epidemic of loneliness, and that is a real thing.
Where is all of this stuff coming from?
Who's in the fentanyl supply chain? Where are the super labs? How are they using our open borders to cause such devastation?
All roads lead back to China.
The danger is all around us. The time is now.
They're killing our children. And how do we change that?
Don't miss this important documentary report, Fentanyl Death Incorporated. It could save the life of someone you love. Available exclusively at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire? Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. Make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence. Learn principles of income planning. There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring. Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. It is The Real Story, and still on the line with me is Tom Hampson and Jack Rigert. Together, they present something called Stolen Innocence. It's a program to basically alert people about the National Sex Education Standards, which were adopted by the state of Illinois, in that if you're going to teach comprehensive sex ed in schools, which a number of schools do, then you must teach according to the National Sex Education Standards. And part of those standards include beginning with teaching that, you can be any gender you want. You can change your gender. There's all sorts of genders in kindergarten. Start with teaching them that then. I mean, and it gets worse from them. I mean, it teaches masturbation to in grade 6. It goes on and on. You have to teach about all the abortion stuff beginning in 9th grade. So, I mean, these sex standards are terrible, but they're in schools. They're not necessarily in the Naperville School District. I don't know if they're actually been adopted by Indian Prairie 204. But guess what? Doesn't matter, parents, because you're dealing with it anyway, because it's right in front of you as they let a former teacher transition from male to female in front of students and are requiring students to conform to this teacher's idea that he's actually a she. Now, I don't know how you do that to children. Talk about confusion. And when we talk about this topic, let's be also aware of what other countries are doing that are far further ahead of us in adopting sensible policies. Well, first of all, it's not even sensible. You can't change your sex. You can't. I don't care if you're 10 years old or 20 years old or 30 years old or 50 years old. You can't. It's impossible. You cannot do it. And so it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And so this whole thing that right now, though, we're basically focused on minors because that's where we are until we can expand people's thoughts about this topic. We're stuck with hey, you can't do that to a minor. Look at all the detransitioners. You're medically intervening with them for a lifetime. And it is interesting. Last week, the United Kingdom on Wednesday indefinitely banned new prescriptions of puberty blockers to treat minors for gender dysphoria. The announcement comes a week after the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a case involving state bans on puberty-suppressing medications. We're trying to do it state by state. But the UK said flat out no more. Puberty blockers are commonly prescribed to transgender children in countries throughout the Western world to delay the onset of puberty or pause it as it's transpiring. Okay, and look, It was Dr. Hillary Cass. She's the author of an independent study that said that every other study that she looked at, there was zero improvement for minors if they went down this path of puberty blockers and then also additional surgical procedures. It's all garbage. But in District 204, you're a kindergartner, and you're going to have to try and figure out that the male teacher is now a female librarian. Jack, make this make sense to me. Why are we so behind in America?
You know, and Tom can address this probably even better, but don't forget, Jeannie, that these books, even though 204 will say that we don't actually teach gender identity, there are books in those libraries like Perfectly Normal and many other books. So all parents have to do is really look those books up and put in the keyword gender, and they're going to see these books are in almost all the libraries, elementary school libraries, high school libraries, etc. So they say one thing, but it's not true. And again, when these talking points came out, and they said, let's focus on school, let's focus on math and learning, and then we tell the kids a lie, and so that a man can become a woman. And here's the thing again. We force them to accept this lie through the use of female pronouns, and the director is now referred to as Miss. So, Jeannie, to your point, you can't rationally, make sense out of this. It doesn't rationally make sense. And maybe the last point before Tom jumps in is that if you just leave kids alone that are dealing with these gender issues, right? These some type of gender dysphoria. If you just do what's called talk therapy, go along with them, talk to them, get them through these issues. The vast majority, most studies now are coming out at over 90%. Most of them will just become comfortable in their own bodies, right? This is a time of their life where their bodies are changing. They're going through a lot of different things, and now we're going to lie to them. It's really nefarious in many ways.
Hey, I guess it's what people want, or parents want. Tom?
Yeah, they're taking. In the UK, they've started treating it as a mental illness again, as it really is, as it was considered starting in 1985. I think that's when it first appeared on the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. And then in 2013, it was changed from gender identity disorder to gender dysphoria. And at the same time, they changed it from a mental illness to a condition that they had, that it was a medical condition. That allowed them still to provide these drugs and to provide treatment and have it covered by insurance. Medicare, Medicaid, and other insurance companies would provide the pay for the care for these people. But the UK said because of the studies that showed that it had no impact whatsoever, it didn't help these people, and in many cases it hurt them in the long run. Because once they do these puberty blockers, and certainly once they do the surgery, they will never have a normal sex life again.
Yeah, well, we've covered that extensively on this show. So when it comes to stolen innocence, your whole concept here is, one, you have to watch out for sex predators, and that's a whole other topic we should have you on about separately because we can't cover it all at once. But the other one is stolen innocence. Is essentially your kids are being, intellectually attacked by people in authority over them, allowing them to be taught or to be presented with ideas that are completely false. That is stolen innocence.
Right. And one of the things we used in our talk is a comment by a psychologist who said there's some of these people that are doing the teaching in schools are so unwell he wouldn't trust them to water his plants.
Well, there you go. Okay, we got to leave it right there, gentlemen. I'm short on time. Jack Rigert and Tom Hampson, thank you so much for joining me on The Real Story.
By automakers to take AM radio out of new vehicles. This initiative has gained momentum during the Biden administration with the push for EVs. So as we enter a new political era in 2025, it's crucial that voices like ours and the content you hear on this radio station remain accessible in every vehicle. You can help to secure the future of AM radio by texting AM to 52886 and urge your member of Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act that would keep AM radio in cars. Just text AM to 52886.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
Okay, I don't have much time here. We're going to be right back. We have Larry Kaifesh coming on. Another topic I want to talk about is, he worked in the CPS school system. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about what's going on in the military. He is retired lieutenant colonel himself. He's now lives in Texas, but he's from Illinois, so he knows a lot of Illinois stuff. But specifically when it comes to CPS, what did he find when he worked inside the system? Now he can tell us because he's out. So that's going to be a good interview. So stay tuned. Lots more to cover on The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. Thanks for joining me tonight. Oh, by the way, the call-in number here, 312-642-5600. Tee up those calls. Thanks so much.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynavite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynavite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dynavite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynavite.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app. Or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
More unidentified drones in the night skies. I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News. Outgoing Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying it's time to push the government.
Senator Chuck Schumer said Sunday, first we have to know what these aircraft are.
If the technology exists for a drone to make it up into the sky, there certainly is the technology that can track the craft with precision.
He says the so-called Robin system does that, using 360-degree radar tracking. He'll call for DHS to deploy it to get answers about these apparent drones. He'll also act legislatively,
allowing local police departments and state police departments to help the feds in sighting these drones.
Senator Schumer says unless these drones fly over an airport or military base, there is no law restricting them from being in the air. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Syria's future hangs in the balance after rebels toppled the Assad regime last week. Fox's Trey Yingst is on the ground in Damascus, Syria, with the latest.
Nearly a week into rebel control, there are questions about what comes next for the future of this country. We do know for the first time since the takeover of Syria, Christian Syrians went to church. They were able to pray and gather here in the capital of Damascus. And they did express hope and optimism for the future while maintaining some concern about the fact that rebels are now in control of their country. With former President Bashar al-Assad out of power, we continue to uncover what was left behind by his regime. Troves of documents, maps, and information that illustrates how Assad ruled through fear and authoritarian force.
Rebel leadership has met with the UN envoy to Syria, and many countries have reopened their embassies in Syria. Israel's foreign minister is planning to close the embassy in Dublin, Ireland, because of extreme anti-Israel policies by the Irish government. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Through the overnight hours, going to be cloudy with areas of fog with occasional rain and drizzle with low 39. Little rain early tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, breezy and mild with high up to 50. Mostly cloudy tomorrow night, low 32. Mostly cloudy on Tuesday with high 40. Cloudy Tuesday night with snow at times late, low 31. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
It's time for Christmas at Cantini. A time for laughter and joy. A time for cherished moments by coming together with the ones you love. Be awed by twinkling lights. Feel the thrill of gliding on ice. And enjoy the cozy warmth of s'mores by the fire. Cherish the moments together this holiday season at Christmas at Cantini. Get your tickets at Cantini.org. Sponsored by the Robert R. McCormick Foundation.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain, Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference? Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back, audience. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday night. We are broadcasting from Elk Grove Village with producers George and Paul at the helm, helping me out as I blow off all of my time segments, whatever, because I'm having great conversations with my guests. And it's going to be a great conversation with my next guest, too. But really, to set this up, I wanted to tell you why I'm having them on. I often read City Journal, which I really do appreciate their work. And they had this article called Core Values, and it's from Ray Domenico. And he writes, good schools can be found in the public, charter, and private and religious sectors nationwide. They offer varying curricular accents and teaching styles, but all tend to share an intense focus on the outcomes they seek for their students, a common sense of purpose among the adults involved. Well, the first one's not true of CPS. The second one, yeah, a common sense of purpose among the adults involved. Yeah, they want huge contract provisions. That's CPS. And a high level of trust among staff, students, and parents. Not true in CPS. Okay, let's go on as I editorialize his opening remarks, because I don't find all that true. But anyway, I recently visited a public charter school that emphasizes character development and the virtues of citizenship, respect for oneself and others, and patriotism. The New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy provides students in 8th through 12th grade with skills, personal values, and conduct to get ahead in their chosen path, whether it's going to college, entering the workforce, or joining the military. As one staffer told me, our job is citizenship. That's good. That the school is a collaboration between professional educators and retired officers and non-commissioned officers of the United States Marine Corps might be surprising to some education scholars, but it shouldn't be. At their core, America's armed services are tasked with protecting our constitutional order and freedoms while training and supporting young people who generally reflect the mores of our contemporary culture. In that way, the services share a common challenge with the educational system. I couldn't agree more. And because this is particularly focusing on the Marine Corps' interaction with education, I thought I'd have on Larry Kaifesh. Larry he was born and raised in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. He was a scholar athlete and graduated from, high school, went on to go to the University of Bloomington, Indiana, and then OCS for United States Marine Corps. And he became an infantry officer. And he had, an incredible career there. Let's skip ahead here, Larry. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think you qualify for Secretary of Defense as well. Your decorations include Bronze Star, Defense Meritorious Service Medal twice, and the Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal with a V device for valor. And since retiring from the Marine Corps, he has served as Commandant for a college prep military academy. That's what we're going to talk about. And he was fired from that job, fired for providing informed consent to the cadets and parents of the academy after CPS CEO Pedro Martinez gave everyone in the district the day off so they could get their 5 to 11-year-olds vaccinated and boosted. So he said they didn't know what they were doing. And I agree with that. And they were forcing these kids or enticing them to get vaccinated without the right information. So, Larry, thanks so much for joining me tonight about this topic. I really appreciate you coming on.
Jeannie, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we just got done talking about, some of the wokeism, some of the sexual education that goes on in public schools in the state of Illinois, some of the indoctrination and all of that. What was your experience in CPS at the Maritime Academy?
Yeah, I retired from the Marine Corps, came back to Illinois. I was looking for a position. I took a position as a commandant for a military academy in Chicago Public Schools. I knew I was going into the lion's den, and I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I said, if we can't get here and make good citizens and good Americans, we can't do it anywhere. When I got there, I will tell you the first thing that happened was the teachers went on strike. Shortly after the teachers came off strike, COVID hit. When COVID hit, they didn't take long to send everybody home. And then we were trying to do a distance learning project with the kids on the internet. It didn't go very well. And then we finally, about a year later, we brought the kids back into a modified version of education. And then we finally brought them back in full time when Pedro Martinez then gave everybody in the district the day off to get vaccinated and boosted, their 5 to 11-year-olds. So I will just tell you, from the time I got there, from the time I was fired, it was a struggle. All I wanted to do was help these poor children, give them a chance so that they can compete in life. And Chicago public school systems is horrendous. They do not want to create a good, strong, educated citizen. You couldn't fire you couldn't hold anyone back. Nobody failed. You couldn't discipline anyone. Nothing was wrong except for bullying. The kids could do anything. They could bring drugs to school. As long as you didn't bully a kid that was trying to question his sexuality, you were fine. The only thing that they really pushed hard on was this discipline for bullying transgender kids. So it was. I knew it was going to be challenging. It was worse than I could ever imagine, and I feel terribly for the parents that have no option but to use the Chicago public school system.
That's really a sad statement. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And I will say, you were at the Marine Leadership Academy. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was at the Rickover Naval Academy, and then I moved over to the Marine Leadership Academy.
Was that Rickover Junior High, or was it Rickover High?
It was Rickover was a combination. So it went from middle school to high school. The Marine Leadership Academy was strictly a high school, freshman through senior.
Okay. Well, I was just looking up their scores on the Illinois report card. I mean, Rickover Junior High School, 18% are at grade level in reading, 2% in math. Rickover Naval Academy High School. Now, why would Rickover, I mean, I don't know where their family is, but why would you have your name on a school where only 70% of the kids read at grade level and only 8% of them do math at grade level? Or you could go to the Chicago Military Academy. I imagine that's another one of those. No kids are at grade level in reading. 0 kids at grade level in reading, 2% in math. And at your own, the Marine Leadership Academy, 8% are at grade level in reading, 4% in math. These are all pathetic scores, is my point. And it seems to be quite the contrast from what we just read about from the New Orleans example. So,
yeah.
So what's going on? What's going on? Why can't we get it right here? What's happening?
I think the problem. Let's face it. I think the junior ROTC program is an excellent program.
Okay.
It can be utilized and really benefit the children. The problem is we're dealing with Chicago public schools, and there is a significant clash. As the JROTC program is trying to build great Americans and great citizens and get them out to be able to be productive in the world, Chicago public school system is designed to do one thing: make more dependent citizens. They are going through deliberate actions to harm these poor kids. Again, nobody failed. Nobody was disciplined. And there was a big effort it was under the radar, but it was very much there to promote this. I'm just going to, just say it, the transgender ideology. I will tell you this. When I went to high school, I went to a school of about 2,000 kids. We had one counselor, and nobody knew who it was. At the Marine Leadership Academy, 600-700 children they were cadets at the time. There were 4 counselors, 4 social workers, and then 2 specialized counselors. So the administrative staff was extremely heavy. And I remember one time a social worker came into my office and said, "Sir, we have a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" "Well, Jenny, who used to be Johnny, had a suicide ideation." I said, "Let's call the parents right now." "Oh, we can't, sir." I'm like, "What do you mean we can't?" "Well, it's part of the policy. Johnny, who wants to be Jeannie, doesn't want the parents to know." I said, "I don't care what the policy is. We need to call the parents." And so there was a very direct effort to put a wedge between the parents and the students, as these counselors were really driving the charge. And the administrators are just going along with it. Most of them just want to get to retirement and get the hell out. There is a definitive, nefarious, evil intention to harm these poor children. And it was very, very sad, because you saw what was happening to these poor kids. You see, half the kids, the majority of the children in CPS can't read or write at grade level.
No, they can't. No. Less than a third.
Yeah.
About 25% actually, CPS. It's only about a third statewide. 25%. Yeah.
No,
hey,
it is horrendous.
Larry,
me.
We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back with you. I have so much more to discuss. My first question is going to be, what did the other former military folks do about it? I want to hear what they did. We'll be right back. This is A Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. AM 560, The Answer, is throwing a party. Join us for our inauguration celebration on January 20th at Saddle Up Q in Aurora. Enjoy a brunch buffet with AM 560 listeners as we watch the inauguration of President Trump. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump47. That's 560theanswer.com/Trump47.
The weather is starting to turn to fall, and before you know it, the snow will be flying. Are your tires prepared for the rain and snow? Remke's Garage sells the most popular tire for this Chicago weather, the Toyo Celsius. Why Toyo, you ask? The Toyo Celsius tire has been uniquely engineered to help you specifically navigate Chicago's extreme weather and road conditions. Not only is the tire the most round, minimizing irregular wear, the asymmetric tread design is able to handle the crazy Chicago weather when it starts raining one minute, icy the next, and snowing within a few more minutes. Have peace of mind when going down the road that your tires are prepared for the conditions. So, why wait? Stop by Remke's Garage today and let their team inspect your tires and get you on the road with confidence. Visit us at remkesgarage.com. That's remkesgarage.com. REMKES, remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, repairing America.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world, one life at a time.
Balance of Nature makes a difference in my well-being and how I feel and everything. It's true. It makes a difference if you take Balance in Nature, you have a happy day because you just feel a little better. It's like a restaurant in New Orleans. Her famous saying was, when you come to our restaurant, you leave a little happier than when you got here. And that's what Balance in Nature does. It lets your day be a little happier than it would be without the Balance in Nature.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered?
Hi, we're trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for our boss. Can you deliver a Barbie to Bonnie and Bartlett?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver Legos to Landon and Lamont?
We can deliver that.
Can you deliver pickleball paddles to Pam and Palatine?
We can deliver that.
Hey, big guy, quick delivery service can help.
More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or air shipment. The safe, licensed Quick Delivery Service team offers quick door-to-door service. No chimney required. Quick Delivery Service also does not deliver packages in a sleigh driven by 9 reindeer. Place your order today. Visit quickdelivery.com. That's quickdelivery.com.
Hello, this is Randy Seiler from Quick Delivery Service in Schaumburg, Illinois. From our family to yours, wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in 2025.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. Hey, still on the line with me is retired Lieutenant Colonel Larry Kaifesh. He worked in the CPS school system. He saw it from the inside, and we had left off with saying, you know what? Essentially, schools just weren't working. They don't work for kids. They only work for the people who get the paycheck from them. And so I left you with the question, Larry. Did any other former military officers stand up to this as well?
Well, you know, I was sadly became aware that it doesn't take long, unless you're a very principled person, to capitulate to the forces that are at B. Mm-hmm. And Chicago Public School, the teachers union. So you have a lot of great instructors coming in from the military. They're usually retired military. They're going into these academies. Their desire is to build great citizens and great Americans. But with the continuous pressure and bombardment, I think they just get beaten into submission. I think they're good people, but I think they also realize if they want to keep their job, they just got to go along. Otherwise, their job is out. So I saw a lot of them capitulating. It was very sad. That's not my style. That's why I got fired. But for the majority of people, they're going to just capitulate, go along to get along, and maintain their income. And so I saw that. It was sad, but it wasn't a surprise. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, when I got fired, because I provided informed consent, Pedro Martinez, the CEO, as you mentioned, gave everybody in the school district a day off to get vaccinated and boosted. And I sent an email to the parents and the cadets, please don't do this until you talk to your doctor about the information you can find, the government data you can find on open VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. At the time, there were 18,000 deaths from the vaccine, right, and that was only 1% of the real number. Bottom line is, I was suspended immediately, then I was fired. So I called a very dear friend, a very good friend, 3-star in the Pentagon, to let him know what was going on. And I said, sir, are you familiar with what's going on out here? No, Larry, what's going on? I tell him the details. He says, Larry, I can't help you. I said, what do you mean, sir? He goes, I took the vaccine. I told the Marines to take the vaccines. There's no problems with the vaccine. I can't help you. I said, sir, have you ever heard of the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System? He goes, the what? I said, sir, I need to send you some information. So I sent him some information. And at that point, Peter McCullough, Robert Malone, Mary Talley Bowden, there were dozens of good doctors that were reporting this. Of course, they were never reported upon, right? They were kept suppressed. Mm-hmm. But that's what was going on. And, you know, you talk about the state of affairs in our military. I was at a recent event with General Michael Flynn, a warrior, mm-hmm, that you and I can both admire. And,
yes, I've met him. He's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah. And he says, the military has everything it needs to win wars right now, except leadership. And I could not agree more. Our military has been eviscerated of leaders and people that are courageous and people that I like to call war fighters. And our military doesn't have it right now. Austin's a perfect example. Millie's a perfect example. These people were catered to and brought up because they were yes men. And there was a report written many years ago about risk-averse careerists in the military.
Oh,
not
that's
warfighters.
risk-averse careerists. Yeah, that fits a lot of folks.
Yeah, and you know it, Jeannie. I mean, you've seen these people. But I would say probably over 20 years ago, there was a great article written by a lieutenant colonel on the same subject, and that was the problem with the military. And that is what's happening right now. All the good war fighters, the people that are going to stand up and do what's right, they've been kicked out, fired, or relieved. The only people that are left right now in our military, and I'm not going to say 100%, but I'm going to say 95, how's that, have capitulated and will just do what they're told to keep their job and to keep their position and not create any waves, even though it's a disastrous result. So we're in a pickle.
Yeah, no, we are. I mean, we've seen that the service academies, West Point's gone woke. They have a diversity minor, for example. I don't agree with that. They've diminished the honor code and its stature. And then you have the latest problem that we've just had with the West Point PAO, essentially, lying. I mean, I'm sorry. I call it a lie. They're going to say, oh, we just didn't have the correct information. Really, you lied twice to ProPublica. And I covered this in the first part of my opening segment. You lied twice to ProPublica that, Pete Hegseth didn't even open up a file at West Point when, in fact, he had an appointment. He had a mission there and decided not to go. I mean, I don't know how you make that big of a mistake about this isn't just some, I don't know, some congressman or something. Let's just put it that way. No, this is Trump's SecDef nominee. You don't check your facts there? Come on.
Yeah.
I
speak about this quite a bit, and there is a deliberate effort to, let's just say, suppress the truth. The enemy that we're dealing with, Jeannie, as you know, and I've talked about a lot, are the globalists, those that want to destroy America for a one-world government.
Yeah, and they're out there for sure. Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere. And the center of gravity, basically what they need to be able to be successful, and if taken away, will ensure their demise, is the monopoly on the narrative. And they've had it for a very long time. And that's what that's what happened at West Point. They have monopolized the false information, the false narratives, the lies, the propaganda, the deceit, and we're calling them out on it now. And they're getting called in. And now we're starting to see the truth. Thank God.
They used to have an annual diversity and inclusion seminar. In fact, I went to it in 2023 because I was very curious about it. So I spent my own money, went to this whole thing, and and there were other folks like me there. I didn't know them then, but we connected up later. And we're trying to fight this stuff that's happening in the service academies because the leadership, all this stuff happens at the leadership level. It happens at the top. And so you can't just hire a general. Like, you just can't hire Pete Hegseth and say, oh, I'm going to make you a 4-star, right? But you can make him the Secretary of Defense, and he can impose policies that will make a big difference. And I think that's exactly what needs to be done, because to grow an officer takes years of work to do that. And there's any number of avenues right now where that can go off the rails, depending on who the senior leadership is. And the senior leadership has accepted DEI when we need to have meritocracy, and they have to be rooted out for accepting it. And you talk about the vax stuff. I've been working with General Joe Arbuckle, and he's actually got a number of position papers on the vax injuries to military. We want, and in fact, I'm working with him to get him in front of some folks that I know in Congress to discuss, like, look, you actually gave general discharges to people because they refused the vax. Those all need to be upgraded now, because it was an experimental vaccine that should have never been mandated.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I talk to actuaries, insurance actuaries, very smart people that know numbers. They are telling me, Jeannie, over 20 million people across the globe have died from the vaccines. This is beyond anything that anybody's talking about right now. It's still being suppressed and played with. And here's the saddest part. We don't even know the real number, because it's still happening. We are seeing cases of myocarditis, heart attacks, strokes, blood clots. We are seeing cancers, turbo cancers, because it destroys the immune system. These diseases are coming back we haven't seen before. Cancers are coming raging across the young Americans and ultimately ending in death within a matter of a short few months. But this is still happening today, and it's continuing. There are some people, and I hope this is not true, that I've spoken to that are very smart, very well informed. They believe that everybody, or the vast majority of the people that have taken the vaccine, are going to have serious consequences the next 5 years. Now we're at 3 or 4 right now.
Well, I hope that's not true, because my kids in the military got forced to take it.
Yeah, I pray to God, and I don't think it is. I really don't.
I don't think that that's true necessarily, but I think that, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Well,
I think that definitely people have vax injuries. I'm not. That is definitely true, but I'm not saying that it maybe is as widespread as that you're saying. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, we've got a lot of work to do in the military. There's no doubt about it, and you know what? It all starts with getting rid of, I think, DEI, honestly, and creating a meritocracy again. Anytime that you say I need X amount of X race to be in senior leadership positions, and that's how we're going to judge them, then that's wrong. And if there's great congressmen out there that are minority congressmen that are 100% in agreement with him. Why? Because I've been in their offices talking to them about it, and they agree. So we've got natural allies. Everybody wants a meritocracy, especially when the bullets are flying.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will tell you, the DEI, the critical race theory, the pronoun training, all this was designed to destroy our military. And they've done a very good job.
And it was all started by Obama, another Illinoisan. Okay, hey, Larry, we got to leave it right there. I want to thank you so much for coming on this segment. You added a lot of value to everybody's understanding of these issues. Thanks a lot. This is The Real Story. We'll be right back.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 23rd on their Lost Christmas Tour 2024. AM 560 is giving away tickets. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/Christmas. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra at the All-State Arena. Go to 560theanswer.com/Christmas.
I'm Kathleen Maloney. A senior defense official confirms there were drone sightings over 2 military facilities in New Jersey.
He said the military is frustrated by what he described as irresponsible drone activity, while also admitting that at this point, the U.S. government doesn't know who was operating the drones in those instances.
Fox's C.B. Cotton. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders telling NBC's Meet the Press he's nervous about a possible FBI shakeup and political targeting.
This is what authoritarianism is all about. It's what dictatorship is all about. You do not arrest elected officials who disagree with you, who undertake an investigation.
Meanwhile, President-elect Trump says Kash Patel is the most qualified nominee to lead the FBI. America is listening to Fox News.
It's Reveille. In March, after Joe Biden announced another bailout of student loans, I told my assistant to get her Trump banner and put it on our second-story balcony. Our office is on a prominent corner in Wheaton on Roosevelt Road. We put a stake in the ground in Wheaton, and we were the first to visibly do so. Now it's time for others to also stand their ground. The policy choices of the Biden administration are why Kamala lost. Our government in Illinois fully embraced those policies. From providing sanctuary to illegal immigrants to progressive ideology on transgender issues, green energy, and seeing criminals as the victims, Illinois Democrats are all in. Trump will soon be engaged in public clashes with blue state governors. Trump and Pritzker will clash over A, mass deportation, B, ending the government-funded nonprofit local government immigration industrial complex, C, protecting people from Soros-funded defund the police DAs, D, federal government destabilization of U.S. energy production and funding of fraudulent green scams, and E,
protecting children from largely the Pritzker-funded sex change industrial complex, just to name a few. These clashes will be widely reported on, and the liberal media will be there to cast their spin on every action taken to rein in government spending, deport illegals, and claw back green subsidies. If you believe in the rule of law, think our tax money should not be spent on venture capitalist startup companies, or any company for that matter, and know drugs and operations that sexually mutilate children are wrong, the time to get involved and speak up is now. Challenge your own elected officials on the policy choices they are making. Because in Illinois, the politicians have lots more bad things planned. I'm Jeannie Ives. Check out The Real Story with me on Sunday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. The Biden administration is reportedly considering preemptive pardons for political allies, including Anthony Fauci, Liz Cheney, and Mark Milley. Biden justifies the pardons on the grounds that some officials might be targeted by Donald Trump. The president's pardon power is absolute, but just because he can doesn't mean he should. It's not surprising that Joe Biden is worried about lawfare. Perhaps he's measuring Donald Trump with the crooked yardstick that should be applied to his own administration. Never before in American history has any president's Justice Department prosecuted his political opponent. Biden's did so with relish. Never before had any president cheered on the indictment of a rival based on novel legal theories. Biden did. Having already broken one of the norms that separates America from banana republics, Joe Biden now seems willing to break another. But America's had enough. Just say no, Joe.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
Well, we know who's watching. The Edgar County Watchdogs are watching. They've been watching a lot in Illinois. So thankful for their work. John Kraft, Kirk Allen, thanks again for joining me tonight on The Real Story. There's so much to talk about, but let's start with this. Joe Biden commuted the sentence of Rita Crundwell. I mean, this is so disgraceful. She was the Dixon, Illinois comptroller. She stole $54 million of taxpayer funds for her lavish lifestyle. It was the largest municipal heist in U.S. history. She was serving a nearly 20-year sentence when COVID sprung her from prison. Oh, we got to let the prisoners out. We don't want them to get COVID. COVID, which was, now we know exactly what it was, right? It was a flu virus. Okay. And now, thanks to Biden, then she was sprung from prison to sit on her brother's couch in her brother's home. And now she won't even have to go back to serve the rest of her sentence. He sprung. I mean, why? Why would you? She's a scum bag, and he lets her out of jail. I don't know what to tell you guys. No accountability.
Par for the course.
Yeah. Well, you know what I want to know? I want to know if Madigan's already got it kind of teed up. Hey, if I get convicted there, what will it take, big guy, Mr. 10%, Mr. President 10%? What will it take for me to get a pardon too? If I get convicted, I don't want that on my record.
Probably in the works.
I would not doubt it one bit that it's in the works. Not one bit. Maybe as a favor to Obama, because Madigan helped set him up nice. Real sweet. Real sweet. Didn't interfere at all with Obama's trajectory from state senator on. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised, truthfully. Yeah. I mean, Illinois, the root of much evil, but also the root of very much good. We got great people here. We got you guys. So that's a start. Hey, John, I wanted to talk about this. I mean, I you know what? 'Tis the season is right. You wrote to me. 'Tis the season for unlawful public employee bonuses. What a great thing to bring up at this time, because that is right. Employees are getting bonuses, but in some cases they really shouldn't. John, go ahead. Tell us more about this.
Well, in Illinois, the use of public funds have to have a public purpose. And the vast majority of public employees, they work under an employment agreement or contract. And if that contract or employment agreement does not have a part in there about bonuses with measurable results that they have to obtain to get the bonuses, then any bonuses don't serve a public purpose. It's not part of their employment contract or agreement, and it's considered a gift. And you can't give away public funds. Champaign, Illinois, is giving bonuses as high as $20,000 to the 911 operators. I don't know. I haven't FOIA'd for a copy of their employment agreements yet, but I would be really surprised if there's anything in there about Christmas bonuses.
Well, how much do you think? How much does a 911 operator get? What's $20,000?
Well, they start out at $26 an hour, a starting 911 operator.
Okay, so they're making just over $50,000 a year on that, and then you're saying they each get a $20,000 bonus on top of it.
Well, they said as high as 20.
As high as 20,000, though. I mean,
at least
cheapers.
Some of them are getting 20,000.
So they're making back 40% as a bonus at Christmas time, up to.
Yeah, hey, that's the way it works. And that $26 an hour is only for the entry level employees. I'm sure.
Right.
Other ones
so
are
probably
making a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And that's not the first place that it gave away bonuses. The village of Leroy, or the city of Leroy, gave away bonuses last year. Chris Mahatsko from the regional superintendent of Grundy Kendall Schools gave out almost $38,000 in bonuses to the ROE employees last year, and almost $22,000 the year before. I mean, if an ROE can hand out that amount of bonuses, their budget's too high.
That's a lot. That is.
And we got those. We FOIA'd those employment contracts, and there's nothing in there about bonuses or measurable results or anything.
So what should people do? Should they basically FOIA right now because the bonuses are being decided on now? Should they FOIA? Or actually, it'd be better. It'd be great. I don't want to FOIA anybody anymore. I mean, I'm kind of tired of it. Why don't we have some good elected official who's watching the shop just say, hey, by the way, public, so-and-so, Jean Kazmarek over in the clerk's office in DuPage County is handing out bonuses again like she did her first year. I don't know what she's doing this year. I'm just saying. I mean, she handed out bonuses the first time. We actually had Republicans back then tell everybody that that's what she's doing. I don't hear any of that going on now. Why isn't somebody saying something who's actually knows this instead of making the public FOIA it?
Why don't these associations, like the Park District Association, the IML, county councils, why don't they tell the local governments that are members that they cannot do this? They should put out a release to all of them, included in like their October or November publication. Hey, here's a reminder: you can't give out bonuses.
Hey, how about this? If you've got a project and you bring it in under budget and on time, maybe you should get a bonus. Okay, great. I'm all for that.
Only if it's written into their employment agreement.
Right,
they
if
get
it's
one.
written in. Okay.
But
I mean,
we
it's
had,
just
we
one
had a
more thing.
local government a year or two ago that gave everybody a bonus, including ones that didn't even perform up to the standard. They gave, we're giving everybody else a bonus. So, even the ones that didn't perform properly, we'll give them a bonus too.
Well, if I remember right, Gene Kaczmarek takes office and within a month is giving out bonuses. And in some cases, those employees had only worked like for a few months. She just gave everybody like a 5% raise and a bonus too.
Oh,
Something
I
like
worked
that.
for the government for 22 years and never got one bonus.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back to talk more about this and something special going on with Dalton. Somebody's trying to make some money off of it, I think. Okay, we'll be right back with the Watchdogs.
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hard-working military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world, one life at a time.
2 weeks after I had been taken, after I had started taking them, I told the wife, I said, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm 20 years old. Ever since, I just stayed on it. And I'm not the most educated guy, but anyhow, I'm not the dumbest guy in the area. And I do know what they got in there, just reading on it and everything. I'm pleased with it. Anybody I speak to, I convince them right away that give it a try.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, welcome back. It is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Hey, listen, Kirk sent me this. It was John. John sent me this. Apparently, NBC5 is doing a 1-hour documentary on who is Tiffany Henyard and what happened in Dalton. Okay, guys, what do you think?
Well, hopefully they get everything correct. I believe they will.
So when was that going? That was going to go off what time?
That was 8 o'clock tonight, so they're halfway through it now or more.
Okay.
And you can find it on YouTube. There's a link. I think we put it on our Facebook page. There should be a link in that article from.
Well, with not even watching it, I would say, why are they focused on her? Is she the biggest scandal in the state of Illinois?
No, so I think she's the most vocal and the most, out there in your face and just doesn't give a crap about what anybody thinks. She's going to do what she wants, right or wrong, and it doesn't matter how wrong, she's going to keep doing it until she gets slapped in handcuffs.
Okay, Kirk, you say she's not going down. Biden's going to pardon her. John, you said that maybe they're interested because they know she's going down.
When she went to Washington and was brushing shoulders with Biden at the mayor's conference, that told me she's connected somehow. I mean, how do you get that close to the president of the United States? And then is acting the way she's acting, and we've heard that she's actually said she's untouched. She'll be pardoned for anything that anybody tries to, hold against her. Well, I don't know what to believe anymore. Rita Crudwell got away with $53.4 million, spent, 2 years in jail? I have no reason to believe that Tiffany Henyard will ever spend a day in jail, or even be indicted for that matter. I just don't believe it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with that superintendent that we talk about often. I forgot his name. He was...
Yeah, Lincoln Way.
Yeah,
Lawrence Wiley. Way
Lawrence
District
Wiley
210.
got away with a bunch of fraud, too. It's disgusting. Ugh. I don't really have the stomach for it, honestly. Okay, well, I do hope she goes down, but I'll probably listen. I'll listen to the NBC story, and I'll realize that, basically their story was done on the backs of all your research and efforts that you've been doing for 3 years. And here they come out with this documentary. I just think it's kind of bogus. I mean, honestly, there's so many other things that they could focus on that's really, really bad policy. She's a caricature. She's awful. And nothing's going to change. I'm sorry, Napoleon Harris, he's not going to change. He's probably going to take his, almost $200,000 salary for Thornton Township supervisor if he gets elected, and who knows what. Is he going to change anything? He didn't change anything while she was in charge. He didn't raise a ruckus down there in Springfield. He didn't change property tax levels. Nothing. He did nothing. These people are a joke.
Well, he might have been the one that sponsored that bill to prohibit elected official compensation agreements like she tried passing in Thornton Township.
I doubt it. I mean, I'll look into it, but I doubt it. Is that a new bill or is that an old one?
Yeah, it was signed into law earlier this year, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Doesn't matter. It's still not enough. He still screws over his taxpayers all the time because he won't do anything about property taxes. Not a thing. Or the overspending. Hey, $53 billion. What the hell? $11 billion on pensions. Who cares? Oh, Tier 2 wants to be Tier 1 pension people. As if you can't tell, I'm on my rant right now. I'm just like, this is a joke. These people are a joke. All right. Hey, you know what,
Where's
Kirk?
the attorneys? I mean,
what was that?
Where are the state's attorneys? Why isn't the Cook County State's Attorney filing charges against Tiffany Henyard? It's the new state's attorney. What are we waiting on?
Yeah, what is she waiting on? If this is important enough for NBC to put a 1-hour documentary together, where is Eileen Burke, Madigan, Cullerton, whatever her name is? I can't even remember. It's like every Irish name you can string together. Where is she? That's a really good point. They don't care. They don't care about public corruption. They absolutely don't care. Did you hear this one too?
Seems to be the pattern.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know we're not covering your story, but actually this is kind of interesting too. In fact, Chris Miller sent it to me. I had missed it. Illinois Policy did this article. Chicago mayor spending $700,000 per affordable apartment unit. That's right. Chicago Mayor Johnson's first affordable housing development is costing $700,000 per apartment unit in a neighborhood where existing units sell for $126,000 and change. It also compares to the $500,000 cost of building a luxury apartment downtown. But the, quote, affordable housing project is not downtown. It's in one of the city's most dangerous neighborhoods. Chicago taxpayers will spend $30.6 million to build the 44-unit complex, an Illinois Policy Institute investigation found. And then, of course, everybody who is connected to this building is somehow connected to other connected elected officials. I mean, you can read the whole thing at Illinois Policy. This is disgusting.
You got to look at who's getting the kickbacks, and you got to look at history. Those apartment complexes don't work. They don't work.
Yeah, okay. Well, United for Better Living, a nonprofit overseeing the development of this first affordable housing project, because of course this is one of I think $1.25 billion in housing projects he wants to do. But this one, the United for Better Living, a nonprofit overseeing the development of this first affordable housing project under Johnson's new program, will collect nearly $1.7 million in developer fees from the project. $1.7 million on a $30 million in development fees on a $30 million project for 44 units. The nonprofit is run by the Reverend David Todd Whitley, who also serves as the senior pastor at the Corinthian Temple Church of God in Christ down the street from the development. Whitley is also one of the 10 appointed commissioners on the Public Building Commission of Chicago, which was formed to oversee the construction and renovation of municipal buildings and infrastructure, but did not have authority over the Care Manor project. Oh, come on. We're supposed to believe all that?
Well, apparently we are, but they just think everybody's stupid when we're not.
I mean, I don't know how much more people will handle of this. How much more are they just going to not pay attention? Because if Chicago's spending money, suburban taxpayers, you're paying for it too. You're paying for it too.
Until their property taxes and their rent, because it's based off property taxes, just skyrockets, nobody's going to care.
But where's Doge? This is exactly why Doge was created by Trump. Exactly it. They're $700,000 apartments, affordable housing. Come on.
Yeah,
it's not. It's going to go, and you're going to pay for that. Federal and state tax money is going to pay for the rent for those people to be in a $700,000 apartment. It's outrageous.
Well, I'd like to see the finished product. It's
no. They deserve fine projects. According to they stepped up. It's the Chicago Housing Authority for construction costs for affordable housing in general are influenced by several factors, including rising material costs, higher interest rates, and their financial structure. The spokesman Rima Alamar wrote, "Our affordable housing developments are also typically smaller, with 50 to 60 units, which does not allow for the economies of scale that large." Oh, excuse after excuse after excuse. And then she essentially said that we need to have really fine stuff in here. Anyway. Hey, you know what? I am out of time with you guys. Thanks for letting me kind of go off on a tangent there. Kirk, we'll get to your stories next week. I really appreciate you guys coming on every week. You're voice of reason.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back with the real story to finish up. I want to talk about the Battle of the Bulge, which is the 80th year anniversary beginning tomorrow.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered?
Hi, we're trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for our boss. Can you deliver a Barbie to Bonnie and Bartlett?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver Legos to Landon and Lamont?
We can deliver that.
Can you deliver pickleball paddles to Pam and Palatine?
We can deliver that.
Hey, big guy, quick delivery service can help.
More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or air shipment. The safe, licensed Quick Delivery Service team offers quick door-to-door service. No chimney required. Quick Delivery Service also does not deliver packages in a sleigh driven by 9 reindeer. Place your order today. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com.
Hello, this is Randy Seiler from Quick Delivery Service in Schaumburg, Illinois. From our family to yours, wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in 2025.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Hey, real quick here. Tomorrow, December 16th, 1944, at 0530, German panzer units crossed the front lines in the Ardennes, beginning the epic last offensive for Hitler, and in response, the Allied counteroffensive known as the Battle of the Bulge. And it was on that frigid, snowy morning that Lieutenant Lyle Bauck held his position for 24 hours. Listen, I know Lyle's son. He's a friend, and I think y'all should read the book, The Longest Winter, and appreciate what our military has done in the past. Again, 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge beginning tomorrow. That's all I have for you tonight. Thanks a lot for joining me on The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. We'll be back next week with a whole brand new program.
Your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
To tackle the drone problem, I'm Kathleen Maloney. Fox News Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says it's time to do something about mysterious drones flying overhead at night.
I am going to help pass, and I'm going to co-sponsor legislation that will combat these drones in a better way by allowing local police departments and state police departments to help the feds in sighting these drones.
Federal officials continue to assure Americans that the drones are not a security threat. 2 people will face charges after allegedly flying a drone too close to Boston's Logan Airport Saturday. Robert Duffy and Jeremy Folsick are facing trespassing charges. Police say they were caught flying drones on Boston Harbor's Long Island. The Boston Police Department coordinated with Homeland Security, the Massachusetts State Police, and Logan's Air Traffic Control Tower to track that drone. Some of President-elect Trump's cabinet nominees are expected to make appearances on Capitol Hill over the next few days. Ohio Republican Senate-elect Bernie Moreno tells Fox's Sunday Morning Futures they should all be quickly pushed through.
We can't be talking about nominees past actually March. We get them all done, get them all there, and I think my colleagues are going to make that happen.
Many of the nominees have faced scrutiny over their policy stances and past behavior. The fate of Syria, now in rebel hands, is uncertain. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham on NBC's Meet the Press with a warning.
There are 50,000 ISIS fighters under the control of Kurdish allies of the United States in northeastern Syria. It is in our national security interest they do not break out of jail and reestablish the caliphate.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken claims the U.S. is in contact with the rebel group HTS, which is designated a foreign terrorist organization. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, cloudy with areas of fog, occasional late-night rain and drizzle with a low of 39. Tomorrow, a little rain early in the morning, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild with a high of 50. Mostly cloudy tomorrow night with a low of 32. Mostly cloudy on Tuesday with a high of 40. Tuesday night, cloudy with a little snow at times, late with little or no accumulation, low 31. I'm Jillian Ford on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest